Hello YouTube, my name is Blade, and I want to quickly go over an article I found on the internet. This article is about the finding of Noah's Ark, or what we believe to be Noah's Ark, and I will leave a link to the article in the description of this video so that you can go and look up the article yourself, because I will only be going over the highlights of this article. And basically this article starts out by saying in 1959 a Turkish army captain was looking over some aerial photographs of his country, and he happened to see this smooth shape a little bit larger than a football field stand out from the rough rocky terrain at an altitude of about 6,300 feet near the Turkish border with Iran. Now this photo is taken near the Mount Ararat in Turkey, and for anybody that has studied or read the Bible, Mount Ararat in Turkey is supposed to be where Noah's Ark had finally rested after the flood was over. And the article continues to go on about how the Turkish captain, he didn't want to jump into any conclusions even though he was familiar with the accounts of Noah's Ark in the Bible, but he did send the picture over to a man named Bradenberger, who was responsible for discovering the Cuban Missile Crisis during the Kennedy era, and he was very well known for looking at reconnaissance photos, and after studying this particular photo, he concluded that his exact words were, "I have no doubt at all that this object is a ship. In my entire career, I have never seen an object like this in a stereo photo." And the article goes on to talk a little bit more about the accounts of this finding. It did hit some magazines such as Life magazine, but it kind of died out after a while, mostly due to the fact that at the time these people didn't have enough, I guess you could say, of a technological advantage on discovering whether or not this could have been Noah's Ark. And the discovery will be continued later on in history whenever we do have better technology to actually look at this. This is a much newer photo of the Ark, or what we believe to be the Ark, and if you look at it, it is exactly 515 feet from where we believe the stern would be, which is D in this picture that you can see. D would be the stern, all the way to the back of where the rocks stop to make the shape is 515 feet exactly, which is exactly 300 Egyptian cubits, the exact proportions that the Bible says the ark was. Which that is kind of a big hint that this possibly could be Noah's Ark. And one thing I want to make completely clear is that the wood has been long petrified. That's why you will not be seeing any pictures of wood in this article. Wood does not stay, it does not stay as wood for a really long time after it's decomposed. Whenever it's, say, in the ground like Noah's Ark would have been, eventually the wood petrifies and minerals from the earth take the place of the wood, and they make the shape that the wood have been in. So the shape of the rocks that you're seeing in this picture are formed from the minerals that took the place of the wood that would have been underground when the ark was encased over like years and years of erosion. It would eventually become part of the mountain, and then eventually the wood from the ark would be decomposed and minerals from the earth would take its place and make the shape of the ark itself. And basically underneath this picture you can read about all that. You can see some of the side pictures of the cliff. You can see where the ribs of the ship were. This would be the size of the ship. And there are a bunch of bumps in the middle of the picture. The picture at the bottom of where you can see right now kind of shows that these would have been the chambers for the ship. Kind of where like different, I guess you would say, decks of the ship would have been. Because the ship was encased completely. There was no like upper high deck. It had a roof. And you can keep on going. Now whenever we have better technology, we have what's called a ground penetrating radar, and this is something geologists can use to kind of pick up signals of what's under the ground. And they were using this to see exactly how far the like the minerals that took place of the wood were, so they would get an exact measurement of how big what we believe to be the ark was. And they kind of mapped it out with this picture near the bottom. This is what they believe the shape of the ark would have been. Of course, it's not perfect because of years of erosion and whatnot. The picture can't be perfect. I mean, this is Noah's Ark. This was way, way long ago. And what I found really interesting was they actually do have some artifacts from the Ark. They were able to drill a little small hole straight down to pick up some of the things that were inside of the ship. If you look at you can see a picture all the way to the left of the hole that they drilled. The next picture with the rock and the ruler, that's actually animal dung, animal poo for people that don't know what that means. And then if you look to the right again, you can see it's an antler from one of the animals, petrified of course. Quite honestly, I don't know how that's an antler, but I will believe the scientist. And then you can continue looking at the next thing to the right is a piece of cat hair, which for animal dung, an antler, and some cat hair to all be inside of this old rock, it kind of points out that this possibly it's highly likely that this is Noah's Ark. It continues to go that one of the last things they pulled out of that hole was actually some wood. Of course, it was petrified by now, but it is some wood that would have been the planks on the boat itself, and it's 3 individual pieces of wood that were held together by some kind of glue. It's an organic glue, and we did not believe people of this time even were nearly technologically advanced to have this kind of stuff. This is basically the same things that we use to make plywood. We put a bunch of wood chips together and have organic glue hold them together. So to have people during Noah's time know how to do this is absolutely amazing in itself. And in the next picture you can also see 2 small iron nails, which is absolutely amazing because iron, we did not even believe iron was a metal that people used at this time. And if you basically don't know anything about the different ages, the Iron Age is much later than when we thought Noah lived. So this could possibly hint that they did have iron and were using iron to make things during Noah's time. Or it could possibly be that only Noah did this. But I honestly believe that's highly unlikely. It's much more plausible that other people were using iron and organic glues for creating structures at this time, which that would be absolutely amazing. And you can keep going on to read, and the last thing that they pulled out of that hole was actually a metal rivet, which is another thing that's far technological advanced for this time period, which just kind of shows that the people in this time period, we thought that they weren't nearly as smart as what we believed, but it turns out they were much smarter than we thought. They actually were very technological advanced for their time. And the only thing I think that's kind of sad is not so many people nowadays would realize how amazing this is. For people of this time period to have the technologies that they did, they were much smarter than we thought. And quite honestly, I believe a lot of people nowadays are ignorant or just don't care. And I think that's really sad. We should be amazed at what these people had. And they've even found rocks with holes in them, which many historians believe that these were anchors for ships during this time period, especially big ships, which the Ark would have been a huge ship, especially for this time. And many of these anchors have been found in local areas of where the previous pictures were taken of the Ark. And the people who discovered them are mostly citizens that live in the area, and they keep them in like their backyards as kind of just things to show their friends and family. And they basically would use a bunch of these anchors at the keel of the ship, the back and the bottom that's in the water, and they would put them on the keel of the ship so that the ship itself would stay afloat and wouldn't be sinking or anything, especially whenever a wave would hit the front. And just for all this to be happening for the Noah's Ark during this time period that Noah would have lived, that's absolutely amazing. And it kind of sickens me to believe that nowadays not many people would even care about this. And I also want to make a small note to all the Christians and atheists. I'm going to be kind of the devil's advocate for both sides. For the atheists, I'm going to say that we found what believes to be Noah's Ark. You can say that you don't believe in Christianity or any other religion, but you cannot say that people like Jesus or the Noah's Ark were never existed. They did exist. Whether or not you believe that they existed through God or whatever it is you believe or don't believe, you cannot say that they did not exist. And for Christians, I just want to remind y'all that just because we have these uh, discoveries now, you can't say that that's automatic proof of the Bible or that's automatic proof that God exists. And I'm going to come out right now and say that I strongly believe in God and I love Him, but I'm not going to go and tell people that they're wrong just because we're discovering these things like Noah's Ark and we know people like Jesus really did live. It doesn't mean that we're 100% right, and neither are atheists. No one's 100% right, no matter how many discoveries we make. And the simple fact is, when it comes to whether or not God is real or religion is real, most of it's all belief right now, and we can believe what we want, but no one's going to be 100% certain until they die. That is the simple fact and truth of it. And anyway, thanks for watching the video, and like I said, I will have a link in the description for this article for you to go read yourself, because I definitely did not go through most of it. I just went through a lot of the highlights. And thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.